PM versus vendor. Team play for success. Sponsored by Translate Stars.
I'm Gabriela Cuahla and I have been a certified bilingual translator English to French and Romanian since 2010. I consider myself a beyond words vendor and I love being close to my PMs.
I'm Lucia Gutierrez, a localization project manager with almost 10 years of experience. I have worked in many different LSPs with many different hats, but always focusing on project management, as it is the job I enjoy the most.
Hello everyone! We are here for another episode.
Hi Gabriela, hello everyone.
Hi Lucia. Today I have another topic for you. I would like to speak about time. About the time that is very important for everyone. This is why this podcast, it's not very long because we know that time is important.
Yes, and more specifically, we're going to talk about duration and long projects and short projects, because we know it's not the same, neither from a PM point of view nor from a vendor point of view, how you manage these projects and how you treat them, right?
Exactly. And from a vendor point of view, I would like to highlight some things that I think are very important. For example, stability. I believe that stability builds better work. When you, as a vendor, you work with clients for a long time, it gets easier to understand the client, easier to understand their audiences, maybe sometimes one audience, sometimes several audiences. It's easier to understand the tools because nowadays everyone works with a tool, even if it's Word, it's a tool. uh, it's easier to understand maybe their expectations. So in my opinion, as a vendor, by aiming for stability, you are making your job easier. I don't know from a vendor
Yes.
point,
From a
PM
PM
point.
point of view, it goes pretty much the same way. When you've got a long-term project, you get translators that are already used to the client's tone of voice, used to their style guides, how they like things, because we know that many times clients like things in a very specific way that is nowhere, not in the style guide, nor in the glossary, nothing. And you learn that by feedback. So if you have a long-term project, as a PM, your translators get used to your client, so that results in better quality and less oversight. So it's smoother for the PM. It's true that long-term projects take longer to kick off because you need to give more information to the linguists. But on the long run, it saves you time because the time you spent at the beginning, then during the project, you don't have to spend that much time anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Short term projects also are good, but before highlighting the good stuff regarding short term projects, I would really like to tell my colleagues, my colleagues, the vendors, the freelancers, the independents, that sometimes by making an effort to regarding maybe the rates, the deadlines can help for a long term relationship. Because if we find a client and they pay very well, but we tend to give long deadlines, we tend to give a very high rate, maybe that relationship will not be a long-term relationship. I don't say that you have to put a low rate. No, we know our value, so you should put the rate that you are comfortable with. And regarding the deadlines, I know that sometimes we, for example, we know that we need 2 days, but we put 3. Never know, life happens. But if you show the client that you are a reliable vendor, uh, professional, it will build a long-term relationship than to jump and want everything from the beginning. Maybe slowly at the beginning for a long-term relationship. But also short-term relationships can be useful. For example, if you see a project in a niche that you are not very I don't know, used to do, but it can be refreshing, to have a short-term project from time to time, because it will change your view on other, I don't know, other projects or.
Yes, and what you were saying about long-term projects, that is something that PMs also expect. Because it's not the same that I give you one project and it's a one-off, that I'm
Mhm,
giving you stability for the next 6 months. If I'm
okay.
giving you stability for the next 6 months, I would expect you to have a lower rate. As you said, I'm not expecting paying you peanuts because that's not my style. I know some people do, but it's not my style. And I don't think it's the way the industry should go. But I would expect some kind of discount because I'm giving you that stability and you don't have to worry about other projects, or you are not that strained in finding new projects.
Okay.
So yeah, and regarding deadlines, I think it's also clever to say like, listen, I will deliver this in 5 days, but if I can, I will deliver earlier. And if you deliver earlier consistently, then the PM will trust that at the very latest, it will be the date that you said.
Yeah. No, it's true. And even, for example, for a short-term project, if you say, I can deliver in 5 days, but you will deliver in 3 days, maybe that short-term project will be a long-term project, because they will see that you are reliable. No, I
Yes,
think that
or
you
maybe
learn.
they send you more short time projects because sometimes clients they don't you have some clients that they send requests 3 times a year. And it is
Exactly.
what it is. You cannot say anything else and you cannot expect anything else because that's the client needs. That's what the
Yeah.
client needs, and they are not gonna just make it up to send you something. No, we know it's not gonna happen. But also from the PM point of view, it's very good to have short-term projects because you can test new translators, for example. If the project has translation and review, you can use a new translator and then an experienced reviewer. Not maybe not an experienced, but a reviewer you trust.
Okay.
And it also, for the PMs, it's also refreshing for PMs because it's a nice one, short and easy. You send it out, you have it back, and then you tick it out. And you can't imagine how satisfying it is to tick off one project and say it's off the way. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, I can understand. But here's the thing: I have colleagues, because we are on social media every day, and I read some posts about they are complaining about these short projects. I I'm not very fond of complaining, because, as you said, this is what it is. Sometimes you have long projects, sometimes short projects. But when, from your point of view, when a PM sends short terms projects only from time to time to a vendor, does it mean that the vendor is not is it's a bad vendor? For
No.
example, they are considering he's not trustworthy for long projects, or I don't know.
No, it might be that, for example, some languages that are not as spread or they are not as demanded, it can be that that client requests that specific language and it's the only need you've got for that language within your client base. That might be one of the reasons. Another reason might be that I like working with set vendors for clients because I think, as I said, long term builds stability and familiarity. And it might be that the other projects that the company has are already taken by other translators. So it doesn't necessarily need to mean that your quality is bad. It might also mean that you were late one day and then the PM doesn't trust you as much anymore because that
Okay.
happens. We are humans as well. And we understand that things happen and life happens, but clients not always understand that as well. So it might be a variety of reasons. Of course, it can also be bad quality, but it doesn't necessarily need to mean that.
Okay. And here's another question. Should the vendor send a follow-up email from time to time? For example, hey, Lucia, I'm available this month. Do you have any project for me? Do you think it's a good idea, or it's too pushy?
No, it depends. If you do it from time to time, it's good because we tend to do. is we tend to share that email within all the team of PMs in
Mm-hmm.
case someone needs that language combination, that language, that expertise. So it's a good
Okay.
idea, but just do it from time to time. Don't do it every time you need jobs because it might be killing it.
Okay. And also, I think by being active on social media, commenting to the PM's posts, or maybe showing interest or etc., can be a good idea. And as maybe a last point that I would really like to highlight in this episode, it's about loyalty. I think that, in my opinion, loyalty should be we should go both ways. For example, if I'm being loyal as a vendor, the PM should also be loyal. For example, if I'm going the extra mile, if I'm doing the QA, we already spoke about QA, and again, it's very important. Do it. I really recommend you to do it. If I'm doing the QA, if I'm preparing a report, it will be easier for you to send to the client. I expect as a vendor loyalty. If I'm doing if I'm lowering a bit my rate and I'm always keeping up with deadlines, I also expect loyalty. Is it too much to expect it? What do you think? Is
No,
my right?
no, I think it should be like that. I think it should be mutual, but in our relationship, everything should be mutual. In a professional relationship, in a love relationship, in a family relationship, relationships need to be mutual. However, here's
Okay.
one thing. I've come across, unfortunately, not only once, not only twice, but many times that when I've been working with a translator for years, then it comes to a point that that translator stops delivering quality. And this
Okay.
happened to me. I remember very well one example that I was working with a German translator for, I would say, 5 years maybe. And then one day she stopped delivering quality. So I gave her one alert, like, listen, this is not on. This is not what you should be doing. Please deliver quality because that's what you've been doing all this time. I had a really good relationship with her. So after 3 alerts that I gave her, 3 notices, I had to take her out from the project because I
Okay.
couldn't rely on her anymore. And this happened also with another translator that I can think of. And I always say translators are good until they are not good anymore. And I don't know why, but this happens to me regularly with I'm not going to say translators, I'm going to say vendors in general, because it also happens with BTP providers and it happens with many vendors. So I'm asking you now, why do you think this is happening?
We can have bad days. I can say that sometimes maybe we have a bad period. I don't know. I know sometimes I'm more productive. For example, sometimes I maybe my productivity is very low. I don't know. I should ask all the PMs I'm working with. I also notice posts from PMs that are complaining about vendors that they don't deliver as before, that they are late, that they disappear. Yeah, people are disappearing. So I don't know. I can't make an excuse for someone else, but I know that sometimes we have some things in our personal life that can be very difficult. But if you said that you send 3 alerts, which, by the way, I really like that. It means that you really love to work with people, because sometimes PMs don't send 3 reminders. So kudos to you for that. I don't know, really, really, I don't know. So maybe this is an piece of advice for my colleagues. If you have difficulties in your personal life, don't hesitate to reach to the PM and say, for example, this is a bad period, or the tool is very nasty. Because I had a project with the tool. I was very disappointed, very low, very sad. I was complaining about the tool. I was complaining about the client that they don't want to send us a confirmed glossary. I was very low. And I don't know if the quality was affected by my work, but by all the factors. So, but if you feel the project it's missing something, you should reach to the PM. Talk to the PM. No, talk to them.
Yes. Yes, because it's quite annoying. It's annoying to me on a personal note,
Yeah.
because I've been working with people for a long time. I thought I had established a good relationship with them. And then from one day to another, they stop being good. And it's like, why? Why do you start delivering late? Why your quality has lowered? And you don't say anything. You just try to justify something that you just can't justify. Just explain it to me. Just tell me. And, and then one reason that I can think of, because as I told you, this not only happened once in my life, is that the vendors get used to the project and they take it for granted and that they don't pay as much attention. I don't know. But it's just really strange that it happens to me periodically.
Really, I don't know. And this can be a very good topic for a next episode, talking about our personal knowledge, experience, applying it in the professional life. So overall,
Yes.
all I can say, overall, to conclude this episode, I can say, vendors, talk to your PMs, talk to them. If you are not comfortable with the tool, say it. If you have a lot of, for example, you deliver the project, but you know that there is something missing, you know that you didn't give it all, maybe due to the tool, to the client, they didn't reply to the comments, maybe you didn't like to the project, I don't know, you can many millions reasons. Talk to the PM. That's, I think, my main conclusion. Talk to the PM. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and regarding the duration of the project, long-term and short-term projects, I can see both being good. I would say, as a PM, I like having a long-term project because that gives me some stability, as I said, and it's something that I enjoy personally because I like big accounts. But then I also like having short projects from time to time to fill in the gaps that the long project leaves me. So I think both are good, long and short-term projects. It's just a matter of balance, as we said in our
Yeah,
last episode.
exactly, balance. And that concludes our episode for today with, I think, one main phrase: long, short, talk. Be human.
Yes. Yes, and leave us
Okay.
your comments.
Yeah, we are waiting for that. And we are thanking everyone for the support. I think it's important to say that. And I hope you are enjoying our episodes because we want to give the human experience.
Yeah.
No?
Thank you, everyone. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye. Till next week. Bye bye.
What you've heard are just our personal opinions. We by no means intend to impose our personal views on anyone. Feel free to disagree, throw tomatoes at us, or just drop a comment to let us know. Thank you!